Okay. Can I ask every one of the Kick Vic Twitter brigade a question? And it's something I've asked Mars Girl recently in my last video, in one of my more recent videos. Do you, how can I put this? Do you animals have anything better to do with your lives other than going online, smearing Vic Mignogna, and basically screwing him out of convention appearances? This weekend and next weekend, he was originally supposed to be at two collectathon spots, Fort Worth, Dallas, and Charlotte, respectively. However, the contract got breached because I'm sure a certain pack of these dogs told the conventions the same lie Mars Girl's been peddling for about 3.5 years now. Vic's unsafe. He's a pedophile. He's a sex harasser. He's a sexual harasser. And so on and so forth. Yada, yada, fucking yada. It's all projection. No more and no less. Now, and then came the NFT project. Now, to be fair to both Kick and I Stand with Vic, both sides were suspicious about this project going. I mean, even I was cautious about it because NFT is taboo, is a danger, leads to some sort of danger, in my opinion. And sure enough, last week, if anyone watched the more recent video I did, where I read off the entire where I read the whole arrest report, listed off the individuals who got involved in the arrest for the Paycheck Protection Fraud scandal, which include the head of the NFT animation project Vic was originally going to be a part of. Vic pulled out of it before he decided to pull out of it. Quick question though, does it count as doxing if I'm reading off a police report or no? Getting off track. Recently, someone in the Kick Vic Brigade basically belittled Back Anime for bringing Vic in this past weekend and sticking to that gun. And again, keep in mind, originally Vic was supposed to show up at XCon in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a convention I was originally going to go to, but I had to refund the ticket, something I haven't gotten money back for some damn reason. When Vic had to pull out due to a scheduling conflict and throw in the fact that his back anime contract had been rolled over the last 2 years due to the bug. Anyway, when you look at the scope of what's happened over the last 3 years, throw in the Damon Mills controversy, you ask yourself, who's more unsafe? I Stand with Vic or Kick Vic? And then there was that little addition, some additional tweets about with Vic's Twitch brigade, with the Vic Twitch followers and Twitch streams, where they claim he invites his most quote unquote toxic and monstrous fans onto the fanatical fans onto the show. Let me put it like this. First off, getting onto that show for many of us is still a game of chance because he only gives himself about an hour 5, an hour 10 of a of a streaming window. Two, while there are some of us who are toxic, and are more chaotically aligned with I Stand with Vic, there's at least one thing we are that many of you in Kick Vic are not. We're straightforward and honest, almost to a fault. where you guys just continue to spout he said, she said, and are still running off the engine of what was basically proven to be a lie. Tell me, Mars Girl, how long has that nose of yours gotten in the last 3 years? Because by now, I think that damn schnozola of yours should have been fumigated for termites. It's given how long it's gotten. And you've sent your thugs after me, too. Whether it's due to my voice, my own schnozola, my face, or my borderline fanaticism. Borderline, to help Vic. I mean, sure, you were willing to go all out, flapping your gums about how you busted Vic Mignogna, exposed him, and yada, blah, blah, blah. But when Damon Mills, a man who is a legit pedophile, has evidence of being a legit pedophile, a legit groomer, and a legit racist, I might want to point out, comes up, you keep quiet about it. I know in the Bible it says there's a time to keep silent and a time to speak. Well, in the case with Damon, that was a time to speak out, and you did nothing. You hypocrite. And let me put it like this, to quote Trent Michaels, as long as people like you are out there flapping your gums on Twitter, TikTok, or wherever, I'm going to be here to counteract it. I'm going to be here to speak up and stand up for the truth. Because I've got the truth on my side. And while I don't use it as much, love is my weapon. Much as I should, even though love is not a weapon I use as often as I should, if at all. To other conventions who had Vic as a linchpin and then threw him aside because of these allegations, because the con operators are super ass woke. Ichiban, and I can name a few of them right off the top of my head. Ichiban Con, Triad Anime Con, the Colossicons, all four of them. Maine and Sandusky, East in the Poconos, and the newly formed Texas and North in Texas and Wisconsin, respectively. GalaxyCon, even though I'm basically boycotting that convention, but that being said, and I mean every branch of GalaxyCon, not just the one that pops up here in pops up in Raleigh at the end of July. Why can't you guys follow the examples of Back Anime and Anime Matsuri? Vic brings in people like Monica, Jamie, Sabat, Mills. They drive them away because of their egos. Because of, in the cases of Sabat, Monica, and Jamie, their egos, and in the case of Mills, his appetites. Though Sabat's not as big of an asshole, I'll admit, but he still drives people away with his Zeus complex, even though he's much better at hiding it. For those who don't get why I call Sabat a overkill Zeusian complex bully, the complex revolt is akin to the Greco-Roman Olympian deity of thunder and the sky and the king of Olympus, Zeus, who by his very nature was a bureaucrat a brute and would basically intimidate anyone just to keep his control of the throne of Olympus. But his biggest character flaw was his promiscuity. It was promiscuity. He was a notorious player, chasing anything with a skirt and banging them. Many of which was going did were done so behind the back of his wife and sister Hera. Keep in mind, ancient to the pol- to polytheistic pantheons, incest is not that big of a deal, so try to ignore that. And I mean, I don't know how healthy Chris's life outside the office is with his wife Tabitha, or even their daughters Hero and Vera. And yes, I looked it up on Wikipedia to find that information. I never asked Chris about it directly. But when you take the casting couch into effect, and when someone starts to question his authority, he'll bring up their flaws, like he did with Stephanie and Tiffany, or with Chuck Huber's affidavit about said couch. And by Tiffany, I mean Tiffany Bulmer, and Stephanie, I mean Stephanie Nadolny. It proves how much of a prick Christopher Robin Sabat is. And then there's the whole dynamic between Kick Vic versus I Stand with Vic. The Omni Man, the Homelander versus Omni Man dynamic. Kick Vic, both the actors and the advocates on social media, they're nothing but bullies. And they're like Homelander. Nothing but overkill, sociopathic, bullying man children. Man and women children. Mars Girl being the worst of the worst. Same thing with Monica and Jamie. Those on Stand with Vic, on the other hand, are more like Omni Man. They walk the way of the warrior. Now, yes, I know both these characters are basically sociopathic, dark, corrupted Superman knockoffs. But if you go by the death battles of base, who had more humanity to them? Omni Man. Especially if you go through the comics, and through the Invincible comics. Now, granted, I've never read the Invincible comics. I just know what I know about the character through videos that discuss the things the Amazon Prime show hasn't gotten to yet. Specifically, the expanded lore of the comic books and how Omni Man actually softens up and turns against his original people, the Vitrolites, to help defend the Earth at one point, to make amends for his past sins as a Vitrolite conqueror. And I know I have gone completely off track. But that being said, let me get to the point. And I mean, not just to cons here in North Carolina, but to conventions across the globe, in this country, if not the globe. Follow the examples of Matsuri and Back Anime. Let Vic in and let him constantly come in. He'd be a guest and a linchpin. If he is, you'll make a lot of money. If you don't, your cons will continue to go into a downward spiral because left-wing woke globalist ideology, it's dying. People do not want to be fed woke ideology anymore. They are seeing what it's doing to this country and they don't want it. So it's either hop off that bandwagon and get on the Patriot one, or you can be left to rot because of your own victimized by the wanting to fit in with the status quo, to go with the what you believe is the flow, but it's not. I stand with Vic now, then, forever. Leave a comment, smash a like, sub to the channel. Mets2128 signing out. Goodbye, good night, bang, and let me make this abundantly clear. While this is the topic that takes up the bulk of my video catalog here on YouTube, lately I have lost a lot of interest in doing this with the longer this gets dragged out. And I only do these days to basically snap back. Or if there's something that has some tether to Vic in it, then I'll talk about it. These days, that's all I'm doing with these. No more and no less. Till then, I'm out.